Well, hello, it's Monday and let's look at the time. Oh, it's about 1:20 in the afternoon. Well, I've taken my car in to have its 1,000-mile oil change. As I said before, it's very important that you get an oil change done after you run the car in. They say that it takes about 800 to 1,000 miles to run a car in, and that you should really then get rid of all those metal particles that will be in the oil. As I said before, that you get scrapings off the cylinders, and you get the polishing of the journal bearings and all that kind of stuff. And what you don't want is these hard metal particles working their way through the engine, embedding themselves into the soft metal bearings, or what should I say, the soft metal bushings that are in the car. Now, I've seen the damage that can be done when you start to lose bearings. Yeah, it's not good. And I've actually seen the metal of a crank pin start to melt because the bearing had started to fail. Now, on these big engines, they don't have ball bearings inside. Then what they have is these journal bearings, which are basically, it's two shells made up of soft metal. And I've seen the damage that can be done when hardened particles get embedded into the soft, well, it's quite hard really, but it's softer than the metal of the crank pins, shall we say. Yeah, I've seen the damage that's done there. So it's a very good idea to get your engine oil and your filter changed after 1,000 miles. Now, I've done, in my car now, I've done 1,200 miles. It's not bad, is it, for a good 7 weeks, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway, so I've taken the car in for the first oil change, and I'm having all of the accessories fitted. The last two of the accessories fitted. These will be the light projectors. As you open the car door, on the bottom of the car door, it shines the Hyundai logo onto the ground to illuminate the area under your feet as you put your foot down. As you know, we do a lot of camping, Lady Sarah and I, and one of the things that I felt would be, for a couple of £100 extra on the cost of a new car, I thought one of the luxuries that I would get would be to have door illuminations, so when you open the car door you know what you're stepping into. Really, I don't know if any of you lot have been camping, but Sarah and I have been camping for a good number of years, and we go to a particular site in Yorkshire where there is virtually no lighting at night. It's completely pitch black. Yeah, I know you can see where you're going when you go out in the day, but when you come back late at night after you've been out for a meal or something, you come back to your tent, it's black. You can't see anything. The last thing you want to do is step on a hedgehog or into a puddle or pile of you know what. Yes. Anyway, so that's what I've done today. I've taken the car in. On my way home, I went to yeah, it's cold, isn't it? I went to Morrison's, had my hair cut. I've got some food for tea. We're having scampi and chips. Yeah, it's going to be rather nice. We have scampi on chips on board ship, but it's a bleh. It's not so good, especially when you've got 20-year-old vegetable oil in the pan. Well, it looks like it's 20-year-old vegetable oil in the pan. And one of the additives that they put in the ship's vegetable oil isn't very good. It's a bit horrible. Yeah. Anyway, so I walked around Morrison's, and they only seem to be selling Arla milk, so I avoided the Arla milk, and I've now found a little tiny shop just outside of the town. It's a couple of miles away, I suppose, that sells fresh food from farms. Yeah, the fresh milk comes from a local creamery, and it's nothing to do with Arla, so I'm quite happy to have that milk now, and it's very tasty in the coffee. Yes, so I'm quite happy to have that now. Yeah, luckily it's I'm not trying to say that Arla milk is toxic or poisonous. I'm not saying it's going to have a reaction. All I'm saying is they haven't tested it enough. Yeah, they need to test these things. Like I said before, they say, oh, it's safe and effective. But we've heard all that before, haven't we? Yeah, we heard this, and it wasn't safe and effective. And I still hear it on the radio now. They're pushing this flu and COVID vaccine still, and wow, it just beggars belief how such a COVID vaccine has got such a bad rap, and they're still pushing it. But anyway, it doesn't bother me because I won't be taking it, so that's fine. Yeah, what else has been happening? Oh yes, I've had a couple of Christmas cards from a few of my subscribers, which thank you very much. You know who you are, and it is much appreciated. And if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't get any Christmas cards at all. Well, okay, Mum would send me a Christmas card, and my lady wife would send me a Christmas card. So you've doubled the amount of Christmas cards that I would get. Of course, we get joint Christmas cards, but yeah, really for Lady Sarah, really. Because I'm a little bit deaf, I don't. What's the word? I don't kind of mingle. We have these big galleries because on Sunday we went out to Aunt Betty's house where we did the Christmas card exchange, bit of a routine that we have. Anyway, so because I guess what's the word I'm looking at? Because I'm away at sea a lot of the time, I tend to miss out on all these family gatherings. So when we do have them, I just don't know anyone. Yeah, but they're there, and I don't, I don't really feel a bit awkward in social environments, simply because of my lifestyle at sea. Being away at sea is, 90% of the time I'm on my own, and the most time that I get to talk to people really is at breakfast or lunch or evening meal. And now the way the ship's running at the moment, there's no time for lunch. We don't get to eat. Well, I don't get to eat at lunchtime because I just cannot be forced to eat fast because of my gastric bypass. I've got to eat slowly, and I think that the few minutes that you do get for lunch, I can't force myself to eat that fast. Anyway, so that's beside the point. Being on your own for so long, isolated, I feel a bit awkward in social situations. I don't know about any of you guys. Which brings me on to another topic. I don't know if you guys have been watching. There's quite a few YouTubers out there who are in their 60s, and they're putting out videos saying that they like to shun other people. They're shunning the people in their lives. They're not interested in talking to people in shopping centres, and I guess I'm a bit like that, I suppose, now that I'm getting a bit older. I don't make friends very easily, and it's a shame, really. I think it's because in my younger days you tend to get used quite a lot. There's a guy that lived in Warsash. I was a student at Warsash, and of course when we went to sea, we a bit of a friendship going on, made friends, and I got the impression that he was just using me, because he would phone me up and say, how do you fancy going out to a trip to get out of the country so that we can get our tax back? If we spend a number of days out of the country as a merchant seafarer, we would get our tax back. I'm not sure if that still applies under Starmer's Stalin regulations, communist rules. But anyway, he wanted I think basically he wanted to get. He was getting a discount for 4 ferry tickets out to the Channel Islands. So he needed to make up a foursome. And I was the muggins that drove him to the ferry port in Poole, I think it was. And I felt a bit used after that. But that was only after he'd invited me to his son's christening. And he said, oh, you've got a video camera, can you bring that along, video record it for my mother, who lives up up Newcastle way. He was down on South Coast, and yeah, looking back on it, I did feel slightly used. Because he wanted to use me because I had a car, and he wanted to use me because I had a video recorder. And since then, I've not heard from him at all. So I don't know what's going on. Well, yeah, I guess that's. I must have run out of uses. Yeah. What else? I was going to mention something else, but I'll probably save that for another one. Oh yes, I was going to mention my journey home, wasn't I? As I travelled up from Lowestoft, I got closer to the river, to Hull, aiming towards the toll bridge, and we went through some towns. I don't know what towns they were. I was too busy looking at where we were going because it was pitch black. But I did pass through a little tiny village. One of the houses there, it was on a bend, so it was like the front garden opened up, and they had decorated their whole of their front garden in lights, and it looked really, really nice. They had a car in the middle, I suppose, but it looked very, very nice, and that reminded me that I was coming home for Christmas, and of course by the time I get nearer to the river Hull, or the estuary, Hull estuary, is that I can start to pick up Greatest Hits radio, and there was Simon Mayer was doing his drive time, and he put on the Driving Home for Christmas song by Chris Rea, and he said, I don't know if anyone will be driving home for Christmas as it's quite early. And I was thinking, no mate, you've got it wrong. I'm driving home for Christmas, first one in a couple of years. Yeah, so that'll be hopefully this Christmas will be really, really nice. Yeah, we've got a lot of things planned. I've been this morning when I first got home after dropping the car off, was to put up the Christmas lights on the front window. We did buy some cheap ones from Amazon the year before last, and they had a bit of I got electrocuted. It was only at 12 volts or something. There wasn't a lot of power, but they gave you a tingle when you touched the bare wire. Yeah, it wasn't very good, so they went in the bin. But yeah, so we've got replacement lights in the window now, snowdrops, illuminated snowdrop stars type thing. So that'll be quite pleasant to look at when the light, when it's dark outside. It'd be interesting to see what the effect is indoors as well. Anyway, sort of waffled on for 13 minutes. I should really say this at the beginning. I won't put in the midterm adverts for just doing these talkies, or the talking head movies, videos that I put out. Anyway, just looking up at the sky, we got some funny. I think there's a couple of contrails going across, and where the sun is, it's actually putting a shadow on some clouds slower down. From this cloud. Yeah, very strange looking sky. Probably won't pick it up if I turn the camera around to have a look. But yeah, very strange looking skies. But yeah, looking at the skies, there's been a few incidences of UFOs, hasn't there? Have you noticed any? Yeah, I was watching a few on YouTube just recently, and there seems to be rather a lot of them coming up. Like I said before, I think that these things are being slowly being allowed to come out, because beforehand they would have squashed all these reports of UFOs in an instant. Even in Manchester, we've had a report of a silver orb floating above the runway, and the pilot of one aircraft took some photographs of this orb on the runway, and that's been squashed. So it was lucky that they got out when they did. But I do believe that something is afoot. I don't know whether it's just the me being paranoid or suspicious. I think I'm a bit more suspicious now in my old age than I used to be. But yeah, I do think something's happening, going on in the world, and we'll probably find out in the next couple of years. As you know, in April, on on 2029, this Apophis is coming back again, and they don't know whether it's going to make contact with the Earth or not. So I do hope that these space agencies have a plan to try and divert it, even if it's just shining a laser beam at it and heating up the surface, so that as you know, these comets can emit steam from their surface, and of course this tiny little puff of steam that might come off the surface of an asteroid might actually change its course. So hopefully they've got something in mind just to guarantee that this asteroid isn't going to make contact. Oh, goodness gracious, it's cold, isn't it? It is cold, absolutely freezing out here, but it's the best place for light. That's why I come out. It's because there's enough light out here to make a reasonably decent video. Well, I think I've taken up enough of your time, 16 odd minutes, so I'm just going to edit this and try and get it up before the lady Sarah comes home from work, and then I'll as this thing's being processed, I'll make her a sandwich. Anyway, well, thanks again for the cards, much appreciated. They will be going up on on the back of the door. Actually, we've got a thing that we put the cards in on the back of the door, so we can, when the door's shut, we'll be able to look at them. Yeah, they are much appreciated. I am working on sending out some cards. I need to get out maybe tomorrow. We're going to go down to a English heritage site on Tuesday, the other side of Nottingham. Yes, we're going to see the Robin Hood area. We're going down that way. Anyway, more about that tomorrow. 17 minutes. Really sorry it's so long, but I'll see you all on the next one. Bye then.